There's a hidden strategy behind hiring help in your divorce or custody case. And believe it or not, most people don't know that. Well, I'm sure you believe it. But there's parts or tactical parts of the hidden strategy that's prevalent. Everybody knows what those are. Those are all the things that's been popping up in the last year or so. All the AI tools, the document preparers, the so-called experts at organizing your evidence, all of those are options. And they may be viable options, but they're not your overall strategy. They're just tools. So if you're considering using these, have been using these, want more information, stay tuned. I'm going to dig into this topic today.
Welcome to Self-Represented in Family Court, the only podcast you need if you're feeling lost, stuck, or overwhelmed in family court. At Self-Represented, we don't waste time discussing the law like all the other podcasts. We focus on what really matters in your divorce or custody case. That's strategy. With your host, Tracey Bee, former family law attorney turned pro se family court strategist.
So I know in previous episodes, I've touched upon different divorce professionals that are out there to help you, different options to help you when you don't want to hire a lawyer, or when you're in between lawyers, or when you want to supplement lawyers. That's me. But today I wanted to really dive into all of the tools that are out there, mainly because I've been seeing them pop up everywhere. There are people who are experts at organizing evidence now. There are document preparers. There are even people out there claiming to help you create a stronger argument for your family court case. And I just wanted to take this time to really dig into those things because something happened recently. Let me just tell you what happened. It's nothing major, and I might have mentioned this before, but I'm mentioning it again because it really bothered me. I had this woman in the group that I'm very active in, and I'm active in one particular group because they seem to be the type of people that are open to exploring other options, that are understanding of the importance of strategy, and that are, I won't say easy to reach, but they're easier to reach. And I've been active in quite a few groups. That is my way of giving back, actually. I go into groups and I just share my insight and try to guide people as much as I can with the limitations that I have. And this particular group, someone mentioned to me that she hired somebody and paid them $150 to organize her evidence and make an argument, present her case so that she could, quote unquote, win custody. She's seeking a change in custody, a change in child support, and I think a couple of other things. And this person had promised that what they were going to do for her was going to help her. And the thing about people promising people that they're going to help, or that a tool is going to help, is that people are already in emotional roller coaster, emotional fragile states as it is when they're in divorce and custody too. And so for people to come in and prey on them, that just really rubs me the wrong way. No, it doesn't rub me the wrong way. It pisses me the hell off. And so this is what happened with this woman. She paid this person and they didn't do anything for her. They didn't do anything more for her than AI would have done had she just paid the $20 and had ChatGPT do exactly what this person did for her. And they charged her $150. And that started me on this mission. I won't say mission because it's not that serious, but on this path to do today's episode. Because not only did that person go through that, but I knew exactly who this person was that she hired to do that. But since that time, and that was a couple of weeks ago, but since that time, I've seen maybe 3 new other people pop up on the scene, either promoting their new AI tool that alleges to make stronger arguments or organize evidence or prepare documents. I've encountered at least 3 more people who are selling either their tool or their services to help people do that. And when I look and dig a little deeper, the only thing these people have is their experience in their own cases. And even the ones who've already successfully helped, if you can call it successfully, who allegedly successfully helped other people since their own case, they're just in no real position to be making promises or assurances that what they're going to do is going to help somebody win or accomplish a specific goal with respect to their case, especially when it's in court. And so when people are desperate, they're going to actually just flock to those people who are claiming to help them. And not only that, family law is an area where people most of the time are in desperate need of something, but they have very limited resources. So when you come waving or dangling a piece of fruit in their face saying, hey, listen, come and get it. I have the answer. I have what you need. Of course, they're going to reach for it. But it's troubling. It's troubling because, number one, they're not really helping. All they're doing is making that person, they're giving the people the impression that what they're offering is going to help them in some respect with respect to the specific outcome that they're aiming to accomplish. And that's not so. The only thing they're doing is, and it's not unimportant what they're doing, because for some people, what they're doing is necessary, but it's just really just administrative stuff, clerical or tactical stuff that they're doing. And so if you need that kind of help, then fine. But don't assume that help is going to actually get you a specific outcome in your case, because that's just a huge stretch. It's a huge jump. And it just doesn't happen that way. No matter how organized your evidence is, no matter how strong your argument is, no matter how somebody words your document, that's not going to be the end all for your case. And I found myself in the past week correcting people who are making these assurances, making these claims. That's what their services or their AI tool or whatever is going to do for people. Because I just don't think it's fair that people are being misled. And don't get me wrong, it's your obligation to not buy into that stuff. You have to come out of that state of desperation and use your brain. I'm sorry, I can't say it any simpler than that. You have to use common sense. You can't expect, just because you've organized everything you have, all your documentation, that the judge is going to listen to you now and is going to say, hey, yes, I believe you. Boom, I grant you custody. It doesn't work that way. If it were that simple, there'd be no need for lawyers. And never mind how you feel about lawyers or about the profession, period, or about family court, period. It still exists as it is. You can wish it away all you want. You can sign petitions. You can start all kinds of campaigns and boycotts and all that stuff. It still exists as it is. And if you're in it, you're in it. You can't ignore it. You can't wish it away and think it's going to change overnight. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So you have an active case and you're fighting for or against custody or property distribution or whatever. You still have to deal with the structure, with the process, with the procedure of family court. It's not going to change while your case is pending. It's just not. And so people who promise you these things, who say, yes, use this AI tool, it's going to show you how to organize your evidence. It's going to show you which argument to make. It's going to show you what to say when you get to court. It's going to make sure the judge is going to pay attention to you. It's going to make sure you're going to win custody. I've helped people win custody. I've helped people win child support. I've helped people. No, they have not done that. They have not done that. And so anyway, so let me go into a little bit about what these tools are and how they came to be. Especially in the last, since the pandemic happened, the last, 6 years, there's been a huge shift in the industry, in the family law industry. There's been a huge shift. And I'm going to talk to you about some of those huge shifts. The first one being the costs. The cost to hire an attorney or to pay legal fees for guardian ad litem, for forensics, for CDFAs, for you name it, anything, process servers, transcripts, administrative fees, they have gone up. We all know that. For a variety of reasons, the costs have gone up. And so it's making it almost cost prohibitive to go the traditional route these days. And so because of that, the industry is changing. It's changing in how people are seeking some help or some support or some assistance in pursuing their divorce or custody case. The other thing is that cases have become way more complex. There's so many overlaps. There's so many ways to dig in. There's so many nuanced issues that have come up in the field of psychology, in sociology, in neurology. There's so many different topics that it makes the cases much more complex, because now with all the new research and development, it makes advocating or asserting or making your claims a little bit more complex, not just for you presenting them, but for the system in itself. The third thing is the awareness of relationship dynamics. That the awareness of the relationships, the dynamics, the trauma behind them, the emotional, the mental, the psychological, the neurological, and the relationship dynamics, not just partners, but parent to child, or guardian to child, or guardian to guardian, or guardian to parent. It makes the way the case proceeds, it makes things way more complex. There are issues that are coming up that are not traditional in a sense. And it's making the family court process drag on a little longer, more convoluted and harder to prove or assert. And so that's changing the landscape in family court and family law. How about number 4, technology and AI? Huge one, huge. Because now there's, as I mentioned, so many people have these AI tools now. All they're doing is they're going on and they're creating a custom GBT, because I have a few myself, I've done. They create a custom GBT or agents or whatever you want to call them. And they wind up slapping a price tag on them or a money wall, and they start selling them. And it's easy to do. It's not hard at all. And so because of AI, the plethora of the AI tools and resources out there, it's changing the landscape of divorce. Even the statutes and the legislation that's come out in the past few years, one of them being a lot of states now have the presumption of 50-50 custody. That's huge. The statute in New Jersey has just changed to include it didn't change the factors for the best interest of the child, but it changed the way that judges are going to apply them. So things like that are definitely changing the landscape of family law. And how about just the interest in alternatives to litigation? There's a big wave right now that in the divorce industry that alternative dispute resolutions or things similar, mediation, similar to that, are going to be the new wave, the new age of divorce in the next decade or so. And even myself, what I do now, 6 years ago when I deemed myself the family court strategist, I was the only family court strategist out there. Now there's divorce strategists, there's other family court strategists, there's pro se strategists, this strategist, that. And I'm not a coach, I'm a strategist, because I do have a law school education. I did practice family law for years, so I'm a little bit different than an actual coach. Coaches focus more on the emotional and the practical, where I get to the analytical. I get to the problem solving. My specialty is the family court itself, the process, the structure, how you move through it, how you understand it, the dynamics. It's more of a technical, analytical way of approaching your case. And so now there are people out there calling themselves divorce strategists. And no, they don't specialize in the family court process the way I do, but they're doing something similar where they're picking apart your case and helping you focus on the non-legal advice stuff to ensure that you understand the importance of all the other aspects of your case. So even that is changing the landscape. And in addition to divorce coaches and custody coaches and co-parenting coaches and all that other stuff. And so now we have this entire ecosystem of help, but no one's telling you how to use these. No one's explaining to you how and when to use these. And that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because yes, we can acknowledge they exist. We can accept them. We can incorporate them. We don't resist them, but you need to understand how and when to use them, because none of the tools that I'm going to get into a little bit have anything to do with your overall strategy, not by itself anyway. They're not going to strategize for you. They're just tools to help you, like I said, in a practical sense. Okay, so let's get into some of these things. 1, evidence organization. I see people who either have tools, AI tools that they've created. I can think of 3 off the top of my head that I've seen in the past few weeks that are where the people promoting them are saying that they help you organize your evidence. You upload your evidence, whatever that is, your documentation, your video, your audio, whatever, and it helps you organize them. Now, I haven't tried any of these apps just yet, which I plan to. Some of them you have to pay, so I haven't jumped on that. But I can imagine that they would be really helpful to help you organize your evidence. But helpful how? They're not going to prioritize your evidence. They're not going to analyze your evidence. They're going to organize your evidence. And that is something very different than prioritizing and or analyzing your evidence, because organizing your evidence to me simply means it's going to tell you how to label it, what category to put it under, the order to put it in, and that's it. It can be helpful for some people, especially people who are neurodivergent, who have an issue with focusing and paying attention, and people who get overwhelmed by a plethora of information. The evidence organization, AI tools, or people who help with that could be helpful for you in that respect. They really can. But how much should you actually put into that? You have to think about that. You have to think about that, because if it's going to cost you the limited resources you have, you might want to spend those limited resources on something else. Because honestly, if it's just a matter of you organizing things and you're overwhelmed by the thought of doing it, you may need to spend the money. And if not, you may just need to take your time and go slower, or create a system of your own to do it. I don't do that. I don't help people organize evidence. I help people analyze and prioritize evidence, because organizing evidence to me is a clerical task. That's something not even my paralegal, I wouldn't even pay my paralegal to do that. I would pay my VA to do that, because my VA has been with me long enough. She could probably do that like the back of her hand now. She's not a legal VA, but she probably knows the legal stuff because we've worked together so long. And I'm not selling my services that, because I don't really have a service for that. But there are people out there who are doing that. But don't get it confused. They're just organizing your evidence, especially if they don't have a background in family law. They can't do much but organize your evidence. How about the document preparation services? There are people who do that. There are AI tools now who are doing that. I saw one today where somebody said they have an AI tool that will prepare your documents. Please do not ever submit a document prepared by an AI tool. Please do not submit to court a document that was completely and entirely prepared by an AI tool. I don't care who created that AI tool. Do not submit a document to court that was created by an AI tool, because there's so many things wrong about that concept. If it's creating a document for you to use for yourself in court, that's different. But to create a motion, or especially a motion or a petition that you're submitting to court, do not do that. There's too many flaws with AI. There's no way AI knows what the specific rules for your jurisdiction are. There's just no way. And I've been using AI every single day for the past year and a half. Every single day. Every single day. I use it heavily. I know there's some people who object to that, but it is what it is. I use it heavily. And I can assure you, it still makes mistakes. My AI knows me very well, calls me Trey, but it still makes mistakes. If I ask it to prepare a document just out of curiosity, it's going to make a gazillion mistakes. And if it's doing that and I catch it, it's because I have a background. I know. But if you're doing it and you don't catch it because you don't know and you submit that to court, it's going to be, even if it's not rejected, the judges and the clerks and the opposing counsel are going to know that it was AI generated. Trust me, they'll know. They'll know. The AI tools, they use the same language, the same structure, the same syntax. They do. They don't use them the same across the different tools, but within each AI tool, they use the same language. So it's really easy to identify. And so even if it's accepted, you're not going to be taken seriously. You're not. Trust me, you're not. I'm in the conversations with lawyers and judges behind the AI, the use of AI. You're not going to be taken seriously, especially if you're pro se. If you're pro se, you do not want the judge or opposing counsel to make a mockery of you. You don't want to give them another reason to not take you seriously or to assume that you're inept or you're incapable or you're unprepared or that you just should not be taken seriously. You already have enough challenges to deal with being pro se. You don't want to give the judge or the court any more. So please don't. If you're going to hire a document preparer, which is a person, and they have experience preparing documents, that's different. And because some document preparers in some states are actual certified, go through a legal training like California, I believe. So that's different. But anyone who sells you some AI tool to prepare a motion for you, don't do it. Please don't do it. You can get some ideas. You could help you get on track, but do not prepare an entire document with AI, with the use of AI. Even some of the AI tools that I found one recently, there was an ad on Facebook. There's a new AI tool that's being sold to lawyers. It's geared towards lawyers to help them prepare. It was an AI tool to help lawyers prepare motions for summary judgment or to respond to motions for summary judgment. I was mortified. This is a tool that this person created specifically for lawyers to create motions for summary. Motions for summary judgments are a trial on paper, pretty much. That's what a lot of us refer to them as, a trial on paper. So a lawyer is supposed to assume that an AI tool can actually create a motion for a trial on paper that is strong enough, accurate enough, formatted correctly to submit to court. I had to respond to this guy, I'm assuming it's a guy, and say, hey, dude, no lawyer who's taking their job or their career seriously is ever going to buy this and use this. No. Any AI tool that prepares a document for a lawyer, they're going to probably go the route of, I forgot the way this tech guy explained it, but he said that lawyers should not go directly to Claude or ChatGPT, that they would use, there's a term for it. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. But they would use something like a tool created by Westlaw Alexis because there's like a wall, there's like a different knowledge base that they would refer to that's a little bit more reliable than trusting trusting ChatGPT or Claude, for example. So no lawyer would go directly to this guy's, not any lawyers that I respect anyway, would go directly to this guy's tool and use it to create a motion for summary judgment or to respond to a motion for summary judgment. Because they're usually very case law written, very strong argument. Like the last motion for summary judgment I did, which was decades ago, because I used to do insurance defense and we did that often. They were labor intensive. That's a really labor intensive document to prepare. And to expect a lawyer to rely on an AI tool for that it was just crazy to me. But anyway, I digress. So I mentioned evidence organization, document preparation. How about those people who are offering to help you organize your financial affidavits or your financial disclosure or something, your form that you have to submit to the court that gives it an account of your financial background, assets, liabilities, debts, all of that stuff. That's not so much of an issue. Again, I wouldn't spend a lot of money hiring someone or using an AI tool for that, because those documents are not, I don't want to make a blanket statement, but a lot of times they're not heavily relied on until you need to use it for a temporary motion for temporary support, or you're going to trial. But if you're at the beginning stage and you're overwhelmed with preparing your financial disclosure and you're thinking about hiring somebody to help you, I probably wouldn't, especially if your resources are limited and you don't have a lot. And so I probably wouldn't allot a lot of money towards somebody helping me with that. An AI tool who's going to charge you $40 or $50 maybe, but anything more than that, no, I don't think I would. How about a tool for co-parenting communication? Those co-parenting apps like Our Family Wizards, Talking Parents, etc. Those are really helpful. Those are really helpful in high conflict co-parenting situations where there's custody issues, because they help you not only track your communication, but they help you track your emotions as well. And in those co-parenting conflict situations, high conflict situations, it's really important that you have some neutral third party or an app or a tool that's going to help you keep your emotions in check, temper those emotions, because we all know those high conflict custody situations, co-parenting battles can really work your last nerve. And you can easily lose it, and losing it can actually backfire on you if it's ever brought up in court in specific situations or settings that lend itself to making it that important. So I'm a fan of co-parenting apps. I don't get involved. Someone asked me this the other day. She's a coach, and she asked me, do you get involved with co-parenting conflict? And I said, no. Not the communication, not the nitpicking, not the pettiness, and I know for my client, when I'm working with my client, it's not petty and nitpicking. It's a really huge part of the case, the overall case. But I don't get involved with, hey, let me tell you how to respond to him or her. Let me tell you exactly what to say. I don't get involved. I'll get somebody else from my referral base to get them involved and help the parents deal with that, or help my client deal with that. But I'm not going to, because again, I'm more focused on the family court process, the overall strategy, the entire case from a broader perspective, not the little tidbits and those little things matter. That's just not my thing. But I know the importance of co-parenting, because I can be working with somebody and they can respond to something from the other party, the other parent, and their response is something that I know from looking at it, it would create a problem if that my client is going to court for a hearing for a change in custody or a visitation schedule, something like that. And I'm helping them position their case, and something they've said or something they've done is going to be more hurtful or harmful than helpful. So I will get involved in that respect, but to get really hands-on with how they communicate, I'm not going to do that. But I will suggest to them, yes, that they get a court order for using a co-parenting app, or even suggest that they work with a co-parenting coach. There are people, and there's an app. I think there's an app. I think the app is for narcissistic abuse. I know there's an app for domestic abuse, but I'm talking about narcissistic abuse now. There are coaches, there are people out there now who are helping survivors of narcissistic abuse to focus or hone in on organization, on emotional mastery, on presentation, all of those things. And yes, they can be very helpful as well. Working with someone, not an app. I'm not a big fan of apps in domestic abuse or narcissistic abuse cases. I will say this, I'm not a fan of people relying solely on them, especially when you're pro se, solely on them. I think you still need an extra added layer of a professional to give you some insight on strategy, because when you're a survivor of domestic abuse of coercive control, of mental abuse, financial abuse, any sort of dynamics where there was a manipulation or control or imbalance of power. I believe, and I'm speaking from 25 years in family law, I believe that you still need an actual person who has some expertise to help you balance all of those things that you've been so indoctrinated with by being in that relationship or being in that environment for so long. You need a person, you need a professional who has some background and or experience to help you. An app is good. And I haven't seen one for narcissistic abuse. I think I vaguely remember seeing one, but I can't pinpoint one. But I do know of one specifically for DV. And it's really helpful with the practical, the tactical of responding and how to respond and when to check your nervous system and things like that. So it's really helpful in that respect. But that doesn't really help with the overall case. I'm not really a fan of anybody who's a survivor being pro se, period. But I know that there are people who don't have a choice. They are pro se and they are survivors, and they have to go in and basically advocate and on the best they can with the residual of the abuse playing in the forefront of their brain, of their mind. So I do know that they don't have a choice. I'm not a fan of it, but I get it. So if they have the option to have an app or preferably a person to help them through that can really help. Again, these are tools. These are just tools. None of these are going to help anybody in any situation, get a specific outcome in their case, but they'll definitely help you. If you can feel more confident in your presentation and in making your arguments, you definitely increase your chances of getting the outcome that you want. Because feeling confident and feeling empowered are huge precepts. Your mindset helps so much, tremendously, in how you push forward and how you push through. Especially if your case is in family court, not mediation, in family court. So I mentioned the DV one. The DV advocates, there's a lot of shelters out there. There's a lot of nonprofits out there. There's all kinds of resources. And yes, the resources that you have available to you, and a lot of them are free, actually. That's the thing about DV, that a lot of them are free. They're not all created equal. Sometimes free is not the best option. I have to be honest, they're not. I see people, I've been doing research about different DV resources that are out there. I used to do a free resource Friday on my page, and I stopped because it was much more work than it needed to be, but I found it really helpful to go on and I share resources that I found that were free, and other people would comment with what they knew of in their jurisdiction. So it's really helpful. And you know what? And it's helpful because if you are in a position where you are, especially as a survivor, trying to navigate just the basics of your everyday life, and you're inundated with the complications and the overwhelm of being entrenched in family court, yeah, that's going to make your life a little easier if you can find those resources, if there's something out there that's going to help you. And DV is that. DV, there's so much. There's people that help for free. There's apps out there now. There's so much going on. Again, it's just a tool though. They're just a tool, because although in DV, some of them will go to court and some courts will allow them to speak on your behalf. In some places, I don't know. I don't think New York does. I think New York has agencies where they provide attorneys to go to court, but I don't think non-attorneys can speak. Non-attorney DV advocates can speak directly in court. I think they can in criminal court, but I don't know about family court. But so many things have changed since I've left. So I don't know. I can't speak on that, but there's an AI tool now that I know that came on the scene late last year or mid-year last year. That's really helpful. And so the last one I wanted to talk about was for when you have special needs children involved. There are instances where sometimes you might need something to help you not just advocate for your child's special needs, but to get the court and the key players to understand what those needs are and why they are so important and why they should be given great consideration when it comes to custody, support, visitation, etc., etc. And so there are people out there. I don't know of any apps. I'm sure if there isn't one, I'm sure there's a few on the horizon because there's so many other ones. I'm trying to think. I'm in a special needs divorce group, directory group. It's a bunch of divorce professionals who have specialties or an interest in working with or helping families with special needs children. And I'm a part of that, but I don't remember anybody ever mentioning if they had an AI tool or an app to help them, to help people, parents, or otherwise with special needs issues in family court. I don't recall. But if not, I'm sure I just spoke that into existence. I'm sure that'll be on the horizon soon. And the same with parental alienation. Now, I know that there are several tools out there for parental alienation. There are several people who are selling their services as specialists, as coaches, as advocates, as they have AI tools they've created. Again, they're going to help you maybe position yourself or your case, organize evidence, help you to focus on the nuanced things that you otherwise would not, particularly because of parental alienation being the major issue or a major issue. But it's very helpful because parental alienation, there's so many layers to family law cases anyway. But parental alienation has so many more layers because as much as it is legal, it's so much more. There's a lot of mental / psychological, a lot more. In addition to emotional and physical and financial, but there's a huge element component that is mental / emotional. And so some of those apps are going to help you focus on compartmentalizing things so that you're not sounding I don't want to say deranged, but like you're the one that's basically all over the place, not just prepared, but just not cohesive with your advocacy. And yeah, those tools, some of those tools, the couple that I've seen, one AI tool that seemed pretty impressive. I think I tried it a little bit and it was a little helpful. It was a little impressive. But again, all of these are tools. You're still going to need someone to help you, whether it be a lawyer, whether it be someone like myself, or whether it be you, but with somebody in the background just guiding you or supporting you along the way who has some specific legal expertise. Because all the things I just mentioned are not necessarily going to help you with strategy. They're not. And if you're just relying on them and them alone, you're not really doing anything. You're just throwing more money out the window. You're just pretty much wasting your time and your effort. Because knowing if you should use them is important, but knowing how to use them is even more important. Just because they exist doesn't mean that they're going to be ideal for you or your goals. You have to have a specific goal in mind, which, is something you need to set up from the beginning. You have to have a specific goal in mind even with using any of these, whether it be a human or a tool. You should have a specific goal because you can easily fall down a rabbit hole using these tools. You start with one, now you've gone through 5 or 6 of them, and now you spent $5,000, and you probably could have better spent that $5,000 because you still don't have a solid game plan. You still don't have a strategy for your case. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have some specific questions about some of the AI tools that I've actually tried myself, feel free to email me and ask me, and I'll give you my insight. If you have one that you want me to try, let me know. Email me, let me know. I'll try it out and I'll tell you my honest opinion. Someone started a workbook, created a workbook, and she sold it to me, this was months ago, for $58, $58 or $59, 57, something like that. I know it was close to $60. It was horrible. It was a horrible book. The book was all AI created. There was no edits. There was nothing. She did nothing. She created this document using AI, and then she just packaged it and sold it for $58. And I don't bite my tongue. I don't mince words. I'm a native New Yorker. We don't have time for that. I emailed her and I said, this is horrible. Not only that, it's $57 for a digital. There's no hard. I was looking for my book in the mail. It was a digital version of it for $57. Are you kidding me? And it was like 40 pages of just AI created garbage. Even if I had done that with AI, using AI, mine would have been 10 times better. Because it was just something literally created by AI and nothing more than that for $57. She wound up refunding me most of my money back. And you know what? I actually could have disputed it and got the entire amount back. But you know what? It was a blessing. I blessed her. I think she gave me like $30 back. So I blessed her with the $27. Knock yourself out. So if you want, and if you don't want the honesty from me, then don't ask me. Do not ask me, because I'm going to tell you, whether you ask me or not, if I'm spending my money and to use it, I'm going to give you my feedback. Because the one thing I am here to do is to make sure that people are not being ripped off and not being taken advantage of by people who are just taking advantage of people in your shoes. I think it's horrible. I don't work with everybody. I turn people down left and right because I don't feel like sometimes it's just not worth it for me to take their money, especially if they don't have much to start off with in the beginning. I'll tell them something they could do that's going to cost a fraction of what I would charge them, just because I'm not in the business of taking advantage of people. I did when I was in private practice, but I don't now. These are my days of remuneration. So I'm planting good seeds so I can reap a great harvest in the next 30 years of my life. But again, if you have a tool you created or something, a book or something you want me to give you my honest opinion about, feel free to email me. Or if you just want to talk about strategy or how to incorporate these tools into your overall strategy, let me know. If you want to take my diagnostics so that it can help you figure out where you are and maybe whether you should use a tool or not, that link is going to be in the show notes. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time.
If you're having an active family court case and something already feels off, you need to identify where your case is seriously exposed. Schedule a strategy session now so we can shield your case from more damage. You can't afford to keep guessing. It's costing you way too much.